What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome. It is Tuesday, and I am the Crypto Crow. Make sure you check out murderofcrows.io. Pick up your own Cardano-based NFTs if you are so inclined, up to 10 at a time, and just have some fun with it. Currently looking at Bitcoin's price, it's still fairly sideways right now. Not a lot of anticipation in either direction, if I'm honest, because I'm not quite sure what's going to happen. I know there's a lot of speculation based on TA, but I'm not paying much attention to any of that stuff right now. There's just too many outliers and too many things going on in the space. But there is something that I wanted to go over today, which I think is going to be very important for people to consider moving forward. So we're going to get rid of this. We're going to get rid of these websites and graphics, and we're going to look at this instead. And this is a little graphic that I made that I want you to pay close attention to as we break it down, because quite frankly, I don't think people realize one of Cardano's biggest criticisms is that the number of total ADA, the total supply of ADA being in the tens of billions. And a lot of people don't realize that the ecosystem being developed for Cardano is so substantial on a global scale that it is not a niche blockchain. When you have a niche blockchain, a niche being, here's a blockchain that specializes in this particular service or function, or that particular service or function. You don't need that much of a supply, right? But when you're talking about something that I believe is ultimately going to be used across the world, for a multitude of reasons, quite literally an endless sea of use cases and adoption as we move forward, especially as, of course, we get into the Hydra era of things where we're able to really develop applications that utilize microtransactions that we currently really can't do very well yet. But we all know it's coming, and we're seeing the development come. And then you have Voltaire, where you have basically the self-governance protocols that are going to enable the community to make major decisions as it relates to the Cardano blockchain overall. And when I think about all of this stuff, and I think about its primary use case being that of finance, being able to provide financial services to people that otherwise don't have any, right? You know, we've seen so many different applications in DeFi and so forth, bank the unbanked and unbank yourself and all that stuff. And it's all a bunch of hoopla, really. It's a bunch of marketing. And what Cardano's ultimately been doing is really, truly building an infrastructure to enable people to do that and build useful applications on top of this layer one that will empower people to basically do anything they want to do. And so as scalability and throughput, microtransactions, governance, interoperability, obviously being a substantial part of Cardano's plans and development, all of these things are going to empower the public to achieve things nobody's seen before. And that is truly what I believe. And we're going to see a lot of people that are getting ideas from things like Cardano, but they're not really bringing them to fruition the way Cardano has. IOHK, Emergo, the Cardano Foundation, all hundreds of people working together to build this conglomerate of blockchain technology that the world over is going to utilize. And when we look at the total number in circulation, and we look at these numbers, we think, how am I ever going to make any money when there's just so many coins? And ultimately, what we're looking at here is we're looking at the total current circulated supply is just under 35 billion ADA, okay? Currently, of that 35 billion ADA, about 25 billion of them are being staked to nodes. And this is down. It used to be like 78% towards the peak of the market because people were buying them and staking them immediately to nodes. And then we've recently seen a drop. We've seen a drop in some of the ADA being staked. Why is that? Well, a big part of that is because a lot of these exchanges that got into the game of staking Cardano, basically generating a 4 or 5% yield on average, roughly about 4.5%, and then only paying their users 2% of that yield. Right? So they're making money on both ends. They're basically, their yield is low. They're only distributing half of that yield to their customers, and then they're making the yield associated with running the node to begin with. Okay, so they're making money hand over fist. But not now, because the government has come out and basically said, any of you that are running staking nodes on these exchange platforms, we're looking into you. So a lot of them have basically slowed that down, reduced things, made some changes. I know Binance at one point was at like 11% of the total ADA stake was on Binance. Now it's down to like 6%. So they're basically bringing this stuff down now. With that, we have other nodes opening, and we have other things happening to kind of, level the sand once again. So that's ultimately a good thing, because we don't want any one particular conglomerate or particular company or anything, ultimately speaking, for such a high percentage, 10, 12% of the total ADA stake. So that's caused some of the ADA to come down. But then we look at a further metric, which is TVL. 473,000. Basically, let's just say about 474,000 ADA is currently also locked up in total value locked in a lot of these DeFi applications. Out of all of that, we've only got about 9.3 billion ADA currently trading on various markets throughout the world. Out of about 35 billion, only about 9.3 billion are currently traded. And it's still only trading at around 38%. And I looked at the numbers and I thought, I wonder what other applications are out there. What other blockchains are out there with a similar supply on the market, or a similar distribution right now. And I found it very interesting that Polygon Matic, which its all-time high was only $3. Cardano beat that. Cardano was like $3.15 or something at one point. So not only has Cardano's all-time high been higher than Polygon, but Polygon has a total supply of 10 billion tokens. And it's still currently trading at about $1, around 98, 99 cents right now. And it's also what I consider a little bit more of a niche blockchain than Cardano is. So the question is Cardano right now currently way undervalued? I believe it is. But the use cases associated with Cardano need to open up. One of the biggest hurdles to Cardano's price right now, in my humble opinion, is Hydra. We have to get that out, and we have to be able to offer microtransactions. There are so many applications I'm sure are in the works, in development, including my own, like Soblox and others, that really need these microtransactions to be possible to ultimately grow our use case, to grow our application, to grow our offering, right, to the public. Because if you're trying to build even like a social media platform on Cardano and you want everything on chain, you can't do that if everything you do costs an ADA or two, okay? It's just cost prohibitive. We need to be able to fractionalize the ADA into microtransactions and pay what the feature is worth. So until we get there, we're still going to see this kind of undervaluation of the ADA price. But I do believe that's very much going to change. And what do you think is also going to change as the blockchain continues to evolve and grow through not only adoption, but development, which we've seen time and time again? Cardano is the more often than not, it's 1, 2, 3 of the most developed blockchains in existence. Okay. So what do you think is going to happen? TVL is going to go up as more DeFi applications and other financial-based applications launch on Cardano, of which I'm sure there are many. Out of the 29 projects that have officially launched on Cardano, there are almost 1,300 in development, and I'm sure a lot of them are substantial. What do you think is going to happen over the next couple of years as these applications continue to launch with the new milestones met on Cardano's development that has been just purring away since inception? What do you think is going to happen? Well, that TVL is going to continue to rise. The total value staked, or the total ADA staked, is also going to continue to rise as more of these pools are being saturated, because I was looking through the list today and so many pools are saturated right now. And it's just going to continue grow, bringing more people in that are launching nodes. The only thing that I wish was a little bit better was I do wish it was easier for just a typical end user with some ADA they want to pledge and the desire to be able to launch a node. That is one thing. Launching a node like the Crow node, I have a full stack developer managing my Crow node for me, and even he was pulling his hair out. So I know that it's not easy to get up and running and maintain maintain and keep upgraded and updated and all that. It's a pain, okay? And so there is that. But it's also a significant part of the ecosystem in terms of how it keeps the ecosystem secure, how it keeps the blockchain secure, and all of that stuff. So in a nutshell, I believe that Cardano is significantly undervalued right now, and its value is going to shoot up substantially as we continue to move forward closer to the halving. And I'm hoping if we get Hydra, even just Hydra, Voltaire is great, but Hydra to me is like the chef's kiss of Cardano once we get that thing going. And I think it's also going to help node operators generate rewards for running their nodes and a lot of the other native asset tokens that are being created to run a lot of these applications. We're going to be handling a lot of that stuff on these nodes. So these nodes are going to become even more popular. I'm telling you, the sky is the absolute limit. And when you look at it, if we got to a point where, there's only 5 billion ADA on the open markets or on the markets, how do you think that's going to affect its price? Because as one of the other metrics that we look at is the number of long-term holders, the people who have bought Cardano a year ago, okay? And that number continues to grow as people have begun accumulating at the bottom or even before that, right? There are a lot of people that bought in like 2-3 years ago, and they've been holding strong. They didn't sell at the peak. They've just staked it, and they're generating passive rewards, and they're averaging in further as their income and their personal finance situation allows. So we have more of these long-term holders that are continuing to average in over time. And I'm telling you, between now and the next Bitcoin halving, I do believe that Cardano is going to reach its top 5 point. And ultimately, before we get to 2025, I can definitely see Cardano flipping Ethereum. And and honestly, I like Ethereum just fine, but it still has so many issues, and I believe that Cardano is very sharp on its heels. And once a lot of these development milestones are met, I believe that all of these numbers are going to change dramatically in Cardano's price action favor. And hopefully you're a part of it and you can experience it, and you can become one of the same people in my chat that are always talking about how their lives have been changed because they watch these videos and they learned something about Cardano that inspired them to take action and potentially start averaging in if it was right for them. Never invest more than you can afford to lose so that you're not making crazy decisions that, based off of fear and emotion and all of that. But hopefully you guys join the Millionaires Club when it comes to Cardano, and it treats you well. And until next time, guys, I hope you hit that like button if you like the content. Hit subscribe if you haven't already, because if you haven't, I don't know what you're waiting for. But I love you. I appreciate you, and I'll see you again soon. Until next time, crow your coins.